My name is Colleen, and I work at Facebook. And it's quite the interesting story the way I got to where I am. I remember my first ever job was when I was about 15 years old. The only job I could get was a summer job cleaning bird excrements of roofs of tiles, and I was paid by the tile. So that was basically my first ever job. It's a very important question, I believe, and I love asking people where did they start and not where they are now. Tells a lot about a person. That was my first ever job. Growing up in Transylvania, in Romania, post-communistic, it was quite challenging. The educational system was quite broke. I ended up in mechanical high school. I had no idea what that was. I had no idea of the subjects that were being taught to me. I was more on the human side of studies. But I was never given that opportunity because of the educational system was quite broken up until then. Now it's a little bit better. So basically that was my start. I remember being called stupid almost every single day. That I would never amount to nothing. I would never go anywhere in life. I would end up in a factory somewhere just because I couldn't really understand the subjects that were being taught to me. And I vividly remember my chemistry teacher calling me a criminal in front of the entire class several times. Most of my high school years, my teen years, I spent them like all alone in my head with my little job and going to that high school. Thank God I graduated. So I pursued a bachelor's degree in administrative science and then went on doing a master's in police management and enforcement. Going back to that, my first job, I knew that wasn't it for me. I knew there was something better. It was labor, it was hard labor, it was sweaty labor. It was 40 degrees outside and I had to clean tiles on roofs. So I got a job my first year of college. I was sampling salami in supermarkets. I knew this was gonna be my big break. If I do a really good job here and that salami would fly off those trays, I would get promoted, learn some people's skills, how to sell, how to negotiate, even though it was like a very mediocre basic job sampling salami. I mean, it's not rocket science. But apparently I did a pretty good job at it. As soon as I got that job, I was promoted to sampling soft drinks, level up. And then I remember they putting me in charge of beer. I was over 18. After which, costs came along with college, as the books were very, very expensive, and I knew I couldn't, do sampling campaigns in supermarkets for the rest of my life because I need money to, stay in school. So I remember getting a job selling mobile phones, full-time job selling mobile phones in a mall. That paid €160 per month, full-time job, 40 hours. Wow. But again, needed the money to buy books, and I knew my progress is not going to stop there. I was easily learning people skills, learning soft skills, learning negotiation skills, sales skills. I was a kid, I was stupid. I was probably the youngest employee within the region, so all I could do was learn and apply what I learned. And that projected me onto a different role, similar company, better pay, which propulsed me into selling telecoms to small, medium businesses and then corporate, which I really enjoyed. Like deep down inside of me, I knew there was this thought dwelling in my mind on people always telling me my limitations and telling me I'm not going to amount to anything. It's in the back of my mind to this day. That thought is still in the back of my mind, and I'm basically driven. I was driven by this belief. And I know, okay, I made it this far. Like, let's see how far I can go. Chance it, why not? So one day I took the unconscious decision to pack it all up and move to Dublin, because I've seen the technical landscape and all these tech giants, being established here. I was so scared that day. Oh my God. When you see your life packed up and be able to fit inside a suitcase, that's just a horrible feeling. And not to mention the fact that I knew nobody in Dublin. At the time, I only had a phone number of a woman who could host me for a week. She was hosting English students that came here to study English. And I remember it was on a Thursday morning. We had breakfast, and she was telling me at breakfast, Colleen, I'm really sorry, you have to go tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, me too. I had nothing. I had nowhere to stay. I had nothing. It was that day at about 10 or 11 p.m. at night, which I managed to secure a studio in North Dublin. So technically speaking, there were 12 hours between me and homelessness. One-way ticket. I didn't have money to come back. I had to do something, right? Thank God I found that studio. Oh my God. Soon I got a big break. A week after I found that studio, I got a job to sell TV and broadband in shopping centers here in Ireland, which was really, really good. It was really, really tough getting the first job. It's always really tough getting a first job, regardless of the country you move into. People don't know you, don't know who you are. Your experience in your previous country, scrape it all off. I applied to clothing stores. I applied to mobile selling stores. I applied to all types of jobs, not even a phone call back. It was really, really tough. So it was just a matter of getting your foot into the door. And I knew that would be the opportunity that I need to get into what I do best, which is sales and people. And if I do a really, really good job at this, I'll be able to level up and do exactly what I did back home, but at a different level, at a higher level. This country presented me with way bigger opportunity than Romania at the time, right? So that's exactly what happened. Like, you persevere. Landed a job selling advertising for a big tech giant here in Ireland for about a year. That role again propelled me into corporate sales of advertising into another tech giant, which I did for about 3.5 years. But deep down, I knew it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So after 9 years in telecoms and tech sales, I decided to end that path and start a new life with Facebook, which I'm absolutely loving at the moment. It's quite the journey, and you manage to grow as an individual so much. So for me, looking back, when I arrived in Ireland about 6.5 years ago, I do not recognize that person that arrived here at all. The amount of progress that I managed to achieve, personally and professionally. I think I was mostly driven by this belief. To this day, I still cannot pinpoint the exact time I decided, okay, I'm not going to listen to anyone, I'm just going to listen to myself and see basically if this move would prove everybody right. I cannot amount to, anything, or maybe it could prove me right. Okay, maybe I am capable of doing things. Maybe I am talented in some way, and I can help people. I can prevent more harm. I can do so much more than what everybody else is telling me. So for me, it was really important to silence all that noise that came from people, and even from the internet. Those video clips when they're showing you like a 5 to 10 second formula on how to be successful. Oh, you need to invest in this. You don't need to invest in that. You need a debit card. You need a credit card. You need to be an entrepreneur. Oh, here are some skills so you can be your best employee. That's just noise. That's just pure noise. So basically, if you want to persevere and want to, become a really skilled professional, or, whatever makes you happy, give yourself the opportunity to read a book from the beginning to end. Not just, listen to these little stories that are out of context. I find them quite depressing, to be honest with you. 5-10 second motivation, that's completely out of context. That quote that you're hearing, do you know even the context that's being said? It's unreal. What inspired me? I don't think it was a matter of inspiration. I think once I was asked the question that I was really caught by surprise, and it was, who are your heroes? I never thought of that. I never really thought of that. I didn't have the time to think of that. High school, job, college, full-time job, master's, full-time job. I didn't have time to breathe. I didn't have basically a youth. I didn't have anything. It was so busy. If I wasn't learning something, I was selling something. If I wasn't selling something, I was learning something. And like managed to eat and sleep in between these. When I heard that question for the first time, I froze. I had no idea. And the answer to that question was on my mind for quite some time. And one night, as I was thinking about it, like an answer of who are my heroes, is growing up alone in the situation that I was, I never really had any. I never had role models. I never had mentorship. I never had a hero, somebody that I could look up to. And I realized I kind of made up a hero. I became my own hero, and I'm really happy with the person I become and with the progress that I've made. So I, without sounding too selfish, I really look up to this person that I become today, and I hold myself to high moral principles and standards. If it's one piece of advice that I could leave you with today, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of advice. It basically worked for me. Is to separate yourself from the noise. You don't know if it's good noise, if it's bad noise, if you're getting good advice, bad advice. It's just basically stepping back, spending some time with yourself, spending some time within your own heads, exactly what you want and what makes you happy. Entrepreneurship, employment, whatever it may be, you just need to go your own path. Like all these motivational clips and videos and quotes and people talking about successes of all kinds. That's great, you made it, absolutely. That may not apply to myself. So basically, don't really take somebody's happiness and somebody's recipe of success as your own. Just give yourself time, and be patient with yourself, and things are going to work out, I'm sure.